Okay, there are a couple of ways to become aware of what's happening in the unconscious of an organization. First of all, if you have a strong awareness of what the primary task of the organization is, it's also possible to see when the organization acts as if it has a different primary task. So for instance, sometimes you get the sense that the primary task of this organization is actually to boost the ego of the CEO, or to avoid certain taboos, or to sometimes people act as if their primary task is to be nourished and protected by the manager or by the CEO, and not as if their task is to get involved, bring their full competence to the work, and do what is rationally aligned with what one would expect to be done in order to achieve the primary task. So we often speak about the assumed task or the as-if task, and part of the consultant's role is to from your observations and work with the organization to try and figure out what's happening here. What are the assumed tasks that the organization act as if those things are actually the primary task. If we look at an organization, it's always there's a rational and an irrational component to any organization. The irrational component is because it consists of people, and people are driven by emotions, and very often those things are not rationally related to what the organization needs to do. And you can, another place where it shows up, for instance, is if you look at boundaries in the organization. So let's say boundaries of task, so let's say task, time, role, authority, meaning who needs to do what, by when, where, at what quality level, who is in charge of what. If you look at those boundaries that make up the organization, whenever those boundaries are crossed, we need to ask ourselves why, what's happening there. So let's say, for instance, it's your weekly progress meeting, but the weekly progress meeting gets shifted week by week on late notice to a different time. Why is this happening? Clearly, it's not rationally aligned with the task of holding each other accountable towards the work. So now you can start to hypothesize. I wonder whether they are anxious about actually sharing with each other where they stand. Or you might find that the meeting, some people arrive late, or the meeting starts late. So those boundaries of time, when does the meeting start, when does it end, what is the meeting about? So that, let's say the meeting has a time boundary when it starts. If you can start to observe a pattern of people coming late to the meeting or trying to shift the meeting out because other things become too busy, then you can start to think something's happening below the surface. You don't know what it is yet, but you start to think some task is being avoided. The content of the meeting. If the meeting is supposed to be about the weekly progress, but when they are in the meeting, suddenly the meeting starts to go about something else, some other urgent thing in the company. So it looks as if it's work, but it's not really work because they are using one piece of work to avoid another piece of work. So the decisions that has to be taken with regards to the issue at hand are not taken because they're avoiding that to use something else as an escape. So those things start to add up over time, and to start to formulate questions around what's being avoided, what are the anxieties, what's going on here. Then usually coupled with that is also what it feels like in an organization. You often get sometimes it's just a fleeting thought or a feeling that, let's say if you're the consultant and suddenly in a feedback meeting with the client, you get this intense feeling that you have to perform. You have to impress and perform. You can ask yourself, what is this about? Because the task of that meeting is not to impress and perform. The task of the meeting is to share ideas of what's happening in the organization and to invite their inputs. But if that conversation takes another turn and you start to feel the pressure, you can start to wonder, what is this about? So what is happening in the organizational field that instill in people the feeling that they have to impress and perform when they are speaking with the CEO or with the executive team. If it happens to you, it's possible that it also happens to other people. And if that happens to other people, it's possible that unconsciously people act as if the task is not to get to the best outcome in a rigorous debate, but as if the task is to impress the boss, or the task is to keep the boss in a state where they can feel either important or untouchable, or feared, or whatever the case may be. Another way to access the unconscious is also to take seriously things, and it's going to sound strange to people in the business environment, but the dreams that you're having about the company, if you're in a role of leadership, or if you're a consultant working with leadership, the unconscious manifests itself through dreams, and to take these seriously, to write them down. Over time, you start to see how the metaphors in the dream may correspond with the metaphors that people use in their everyday language and the types of fears and anxieties in the organization.